Imagine you are walking through the desolate, windswept landscape of Creighton in West Ireland. The air is heavy, and the terrain feels ancient in a way that's unsettling, as if the land itself is holding its breath. This is where our story begins. Two travelers, the narrator and his companion Tonneson, are exploring this lonely stretch of country when they stumble upon something impossible, a massive, circular abyss, a void in the earth, and the ruins of a colossal, isolated structure perched precariously over the chasm. While picking through the rubble, Tonneson finds a damaged, weathered manuscript titled The House on the Borderland. As they prepare to read it, a sense of unholy dread settles over them, and they retreat to their camp to begin the reading. The story we are about to hear is the contents of that manuscript. Its narrator is an elderly, reclusive man living in an ancient, strangely constructed house that seems to exist on the edge of something much larger than itself. His life is quiet, perhaps even lonely, until one night, everything changes. During a moment of solitude, his candlelight turns a deep blood red, and suddenly his consciousness is violently ejected from his physical body. He finds himself drifting through the cold, silent vacuum of space. He watches the earth recede, becoming a small, distant marble until he is pulled toward a desolate, twilight-lit plain under a ringed, fiery sun. In this strange realm he witnesses things that defy human comprehension, colossal, mythological beast gods, resembling the deities Kali or Set, existing in a state of life, in death. He sees a grotesque, swine-faced creature attempting to breach the very fabric of his reality. Then, as suddenly as it began, he is pulled back through the void and slammed back into his body on Earth. When he wakes, he finds that time has behaved strangely. The hands on his clock have moved backward. But the true horror is only beginning. A group of pale, humanoid, swine-faced creatures begins to emerge from a massive pit on his estate. These aren't just mindless animals. They are intelligent, capable of organized communication and strategic thought. They launch a coordinated, relentless siege on the house. The narrator and his sister Mary are forced into a desperate, night-long defense. He uses firearms and heavy stones to repel the invaders, but their ability to climb and their sheer, unsettling intelligence make them a terrifying threat. Eventually, a massive flood from a nearby ravine seals the entrance to the pit, providing a temporary, fragile reprieve. But as the physical siege subsides, the horror shifts from the terrestrial to the cosmic. The narrator experiences a profound metaphysical transition, encountering the spirit of his lost love in a realm called the Sea of Sleep. Following this, he witnesses something far more terrifying than the creatures, a terrifying acceleration of time. He watches as the furniture in his home rots into dust in mere moments, and the sun and moon streak across the sky like falling comets. He realizes that while he has experienced only a short time, millions, perhaps billions of years are passing in the blink of an eye. He survives far beyond a natural human lifespan, becoming a witness to the slow death of the solar system. He watches the sun expand and then turn into a dying, copper-red orb. Eventually, he sees the emergence of a massive, emerald-colored green star that pulls the entire solar system toward its light. As the cosmos decays, the narrator's consciousness drifts through the void, witnessing the death of stars and the slow, swirling movement of nebulae. In this cosmic graveyard, he is drawn to a mountain-sized, cosmic duplicate of his own house. It is here that the scale of the horror truly hits home. He realizes that the attacks he fought on Earth, the swine, things, and the siege, were mere echoes of an assault on this gargantuan celestial structure. The house is not just a building, it's a recurring pattern in the fabric of the universe. As he is pulled into the darkness of this cosmic house, he hears the terrifying, echoing laughter of the swine. Things. The manuscript then shifts back to the narrator's return to his study on Earth, but the world he returns to is unrecognizable. He finds that his loyal dog, Pepper, has turned to ash. He is plagued by localized, ghostly horrors, the sound of something padding in the dark, a luminous hand that burns his cat, and a supernatural compulsion that forces his own hands to try and unlock the door to the invaders. And the horror becomes biological. A fungoid, phosphorescent corruption begins to spread across his own body from a wound. As this corruption consumes him, he hears something emerging from his cellar. And then the manuscript simply ends. The story comes full circle when we return to the travellers in Ireland. Tonneson and the narrator discuss the text they've just read, and they seek out a local villager to understand the history of the place. They learn that the house in the story once stood in a location now shunned as unholy. According to legend, the entire house and everyone inside it vanished overnight, leaving behind nothing but the massive gaping pit they discovered at the beginning. When we look at this story, it's clear why it's considered a cornerstone of cosmic horror. Before this, most horror was about ghosts, spectres, or localized monsters. But William Hope Hodgson moved the goalposts. He took the supernatural and married it to a scientific, almost geological sense of scale. He wasn't just afraid of what was hiding in the cellar, he was afraid of the sheer crushing weight of time and the indifference of the universe. There is a profound sense of cosmic indifference woven throughout the narrative. The way the narrator watches the sun die and the solar system collapse suggests that human history, our wars, our loves, and our very existence are utterly insignificant when measured against the life cycle of a star. We are a momentary flicker in a much larger, much darker process of entropy and decay. The rotting of the house and the cooling of the sun serve as a literal, physical manifestation of this inevitable end. The structure of the book also plays with the idea of the microcosm and the macrocosm. The repetition of the house, first as a domestic setting, then as a cosmic, mountain-sized entity, suggests that the patterns of conflict and existence are baked into the very architecture of reality. The siege on the house is a small-scale version of a cosmic struggle, implying that the universe itself might be a place of constant, predatory movement. Then there are the swine, things themselves. They represent a specific kind of uncanny horror. They aren't just monsters, they are a biological wrongness. They bridge the gap between human-like intelligence and animalistic brutality, making them much more unsettling than a simple beast. They represent an other that is not just different, but fundamentally incompatible with human life. The way Hodgson uses temporal distortion is perhaps his most effective tool. By breaking the linear flow of time, he moves the story from a traditional, claustrophobic Gothic siege into high-concept, existential dread. The transition from fighting creatures in a cellar to watching the death of the sun is jarring, but it's that very jar that forces the listener to confront the scale of the horror. Ultimately, the book leaves us with a terrifying realization. The ending is abrupt, leaving the narrator's fate consumed by that phosphorescent corruption and the true nature of the swine, things unanswered. It leaves us with the image of the vanishing house, a void where something once stood. It suggests that reality itself is fragile, and that all our structures, both physical and social, can simply vanish into the abyss, leaving nothing behind but a hole in the ground.